Welcome to At Home With, where each week we visit a local personality at home and try to get a better picture of the person behind the public figure and an insight into where they live. This week we visit Amber Turner at her semi-detached townhouse in Alcaidesa. The first woman to open holistic legal practice in Gibraltar, Amber Law, she has also served as chairperson of the Gibraltar's Women's Association and is always active in the local community, be it through her charity work or as a patron of the arts. But where did it all start for Amber?
My mother's Gibraltarian, but she'd moved to London in the 70s. And I was born there, so was my brother Aaron a couple of years later. When I was about more or less 3 years old, I was in ballet school, in the Covent Garden Ballet School, Royal Ballet Academy, I think it was called. And I was doing tap dance, I was doing ballet, and my teacher thought I was quite a bit of a character, so she recommended that I go to audition for a television commercial. And apparently there was like a queue all the way around the block of children, and my mum was wondering, this is going to be a complete waste of time. What are we doing here? Thanks, Mum, for the vote of confidence. But thankfully they did. They selected me, and I did the first advert, which was for Kiddie Craft Toys. And I went on to do about 12, 13 adverts more after that. And one of my early recollections is where I had to be pretending to be asleep in bed and wearing this pretty nightie and sort of cuddling up to a teddy bear. It was called Huggy Bear. It was one of these teddy bears that they're like a koala bear kind of thing, and they used to could hang it off you, off your neck or your arms and so on. And I remember that, and I remember also coming down a slide, sort of being filmed, doing that part of the advert as well. So it's interesting that actually my early memories are linked to performance. So I was doing commercial work for about 3 years, from about the age of 3 to 6. As I said, I think I did about 12, 13. And then that year, I'd also auditioned to go into stage school, where I was supposed to obviously carry on with the television work. And I had an agent called Wendy Wisby Agency. So obviously it would have been exciting, really, to find out how far I might have taken it, maybe become involved in sitcoms or a television series, and then sort of progress from there. But from stage school, I did get admitted into stage school, but that year parents split up, and Mum had to come back to Gibraltar to be with her family and have the support network here.
Amber has recently redecorated her house. The sharp lines and pastel colors are offset by ethnic touches and bold choices of furniture. The bright, spacious rooms create an oasis of calm, modern chic. But as Amber explains, there's more to this than simple design.
Well, I was doing a few changes to the house, and I decided that, to me, the energy in the house didn't quite feel right. I've had the house about 12 years, and I always felt that there was something that wasn't quite settled. Anyhow, so then I was doing a few different jobs, and I thought to myself, what is it? What is it I can do to help this, to help remedy this? And something very interesting happened. As soon as I asked the question, I bump into a lady at a dinner. Sat next to me, never met her in my life, and when we're doing our introductions, she tells me she's a Feng Shui master. So I thought, well, whatever this woman costs, I'm going to have to pay. She's going to have to come home because I've asked the question, and here we go, here we have this lady. So anyhow, she came through the house, and she asked me a number of questions. What she does is she asks your date of birth, place of birth, to find out a bit more about who you are energetically. And then she explored through the house what she felt were the different areas that needed change, and she explained why. And just by way of an example, like all houses apparently have negative and positive energy, which we know, and then what she does is she neutralizes the negative energy and she empowers, if you like, the positive. One thing that I had done subconsciously, totally subconsciously, but is interesting, is that I had used, I was sleeping in the bedroom upstairs on this side of the house, which is considered the back of the house, rather than the front of the house with the best views. And I was sleeping totally the wrong direction, apparently. And I had a massive painting here on this wall, which was a representation of the death of Santa Teresa de Avila. It was a time when she's sort of suffering, leaving the body, the human body, but at the same time, the ecstasy of meeting with her maker. It's a beautiful painting, but interestingly enough, apparently I had hung that painting in what is called the Sector de las Fantasmas, the section of the ghosts. So that was really spooky again. I'd also had like a candelabra here with candles, and and the Feng Shui master Begonia del Rey, she says, Amber, you've literally created a shrine, to this painting. So that came down pretty quick, which is a shame because I love the painting, but obviously I'd erected it in the wrong section of the house. So that needs to go somewhere else now. But yes, I've done a lot of changes, and everybody who comes home loves the home now. They say it's very peaceful, very serene. Everybody feels at home. I had a party here a few weeks ago with people who had never met each other before, because I love doing that. I love mixing up people who have never met and who I know are very dynamic and will hit it off. And everybody did. They literally kicked their shoes off. They were in the living room. They stayed up till 4 a.m, and everybody had a blast. So I'm happy it seems to be working. Okay, so at the moment I've decided to take some time off the law firm, away from the law firm, but it is to do something related to law. It's related to animal rights. I've spent a lot of time during the years, working with dog shelters. In fact, I've got 3 rescue dogs of my own, and Charlie, Henry and Luna. And what I noticed was that in Spain, especially, there's very little awareness about different types of animal therapies. And by animal therapies, I mean therapies not just for the animals, but also for humans. So it's actually quite interesting that that in places like London at the moment, you've got, for example, Battersea Home for Dogs and Cats. They have a program that runs really well with the court service, where they have youngsters who, instead of maybe paying a fine or doing community service, like washing cars, washing fire engines or whatever, they actually spend time at the dog shelter. And what they do there is they learn a load of life skills. They learn about responsibility, about timekeeping, about empathy. They'll learn about basically, also I think importantly, about love, about feeling. A lot of people haven't been shown this love, things that we take for granted, and again, in our lives, like our parents' love, our siblings' love, our partners' love. A lot of people, unfortunately, very sadly, haven't had that. And so a dog gives unconditional love. And a lot of projects as well that run, which are very successful in the States. One of them is called the Prison Project, and it's called Dogs on the Inside. And what the prisoners say is that they identify immediately with that animal because it's been rejected like they have, because it's been abandoned like maybe they have, because it's been judged, because it's been kicked physically like maybe they have. So there is this immediate bond between the human and the animal, which just by nature creates this therapeutic sort of effect in both of them. And in fact, when I started researching on it, I've got so much to do, so much more to learn about it, but I learned that there's basically the release of a hormone that when the human looks into the eyes of the dog and the dog into the eyes of the human is released in both human and animal. And it's the hormone that we associate with when we first fall in love, like when we call the honeymoon period, where you're kind of all lovey-dovey and so on. So this is actually been proved by a Japanese scientist. So we know that scientifically this is something that works. We know it because of the statistics. We know it because in the youth programs in London, with the London Dogs Trust, with Battersea and so on, they've measured that the incidence of reoffending goes down by 95%. And that's probably one of the highest sort of success rates there is, in any type of therapy.